Well, John, it always seems like we talk after a midweek away game. So how are the lads feeling, obviously, after a great shift last night, but without that long travel back on an evening week?
Yeah, it makes a difference, I think, just coming back in here. First of all, we can get back here in the morning. Usually when we've had that long away trip, we're back in here in the afternoon, and there's a few tired bodies. So, of course, there's tired bodies physically, but I think everybody got home last night and had a good sleep. So small little things that are important, I think, when we've had those 2 home games. It makes a big difference in the schedule at the moment. And, yeah, we've got to get back on the road tomorrow, but I think we're looking forward to it.
Langy into double figures for the season after his goal last night. Obviously, he arrived this time last January. How influential has he been since then?
Yeah, straight away he had an impact coming to the side. I remember his debut when he came off the bench. We were 1-0 down against Oxford. A goal and assist later, we were 2-1 up, and we should have won that game. And then I think he chipped in with 4 goals altogether last year. So I can vividly remember the one at Oxford. I think he scored Northampton and Reading, I think, with the games. So big games, big wins for us. I think Langy probably would have got more goals at the back end of last year if he'd not picked up that injury that he picked up at Blackpool. So it was one thing that we know that Langy's capable of, those goals. He puts himself in really good positions. He puts his foot through the ball. His finishing is actually very, very good. So yeah, really, really happy for Callum, and well done. You got your 10 goals, but keep going. There's plenty more in the tank.
Rob Atkinson completing his first 90 minutes in a long time, a great achievement for him.
Yeah, first 90 minutes in over 2 years, and there's a lot of steps and hurdles that Rob's had to get over, physically and mentally as well. I think it takes its toll when you've been out for that amount of time and you've had that many issues with injuries and the body's broken down that many times. So first of all, I think getting the first minutes up at Sunderland, then getting his first start against Wycombe, then his first league start against Blackburn, and getting through the minutes that he's got through subsequently, but then to get his first 90 minutes and to cap off 3 games in 8 days, 3 starts in 8 days is very, very good work for Rob.
On to the weekend and Tony Mowbray's first game back at the Hawthorns, which in itself will make it a poignant occasion for their players, supporters and the staff as well, and an occasion for us to deal with in its own right.
Yeah, I think first of all an amazing thing to see Tony back in management. He's got so much experience in the game, managing at the top level, and just a huge amount of experience, a huge amount of success, and brilliant to see him back after everything that happened last year. So I think that's going to be something that's it's going to make for an interesting afternoon, and what we have to do is fully respect that, and hopefully you can hear that I've got a huge amount of respect for managers and legends like Tony. But as soon as the whistle kicks off, we've got to find a way to deal with that and be good on the pitch.
I suppose it's quite hard to know what to go off in terms of tactics and personnel with just one game to go off.
Yeah, personnel, to be honest, is probably an easier thing to have a stab at, although there's always going to be changes, I suppose, particularly after they've had a tough midweek game away at Middlesbrough, and they've had to travel as well, and without getting the result, maybe there's going to be changes, although I thought the performance was pretty good on the whole, having watched it on Tuesday night. So yeah, who knows. I don't think there's going to be a huge departure from, first of all, what West Brom had been doing under Chris and now under Tony. So we'll see. We just have to adjust on the day. We have to make our predictions as best we possibly can and prepare for the game in that way.
After what must have been 2 sort of physically exhausting games at Fratton Park on Saturday and Wednesday as well, is changes something we can expect this weekend as well?
Not sure yet. We're going to take a view on that this afternoon and look at things tomorrow and see where the players are. Sort of, less than 24 hours after the game, we still haven't got a complete picture of where the boys are at physically, and we've got a half decent idea based on what we saw last night and based on all the numbers. But I think the most important thing is to go off how our players are feeling. So I think they're fit lads. They're ready and willing to go. Any boys that I do speak to about making changes tell me there's absolutely nothing that needs to be done, and they're ready to go again. So we just all have to balance all that off. We have to balance off the risk of injury, we have to balance off the risk of burnout, but also know that we have to put a very, very strong side out to go up to the Hawthorns and compete.
What's the latest injury news, particularly Connor Shaughnessy, Marco Marnie, Regan Poole and Cassini Yangi as well?
So I think in order, Connor's back in full training. Whether he's in the squad this weekend or not, I don't know. Maybe not. But absolutely everything is on track with Connor. We might just give him the extra weekend and he can be back involved on Monday. If we then go to Marco Marnie, Mark trained today for half the session. We pulled him out deliberately after half the session to go and do a bit of a top-up. He will train again tomorrow, so full training session tomorrow. And again, we'll reintegrate him back into full training next week. Regan's a couple of weeks away, so Regan's still a couple of weeks away from getting back into full training. And Cass is back out on the grass, but I think he's 2 weeks away from full training. Another 2 weeks then from being available for selection.
You got an eye on Thomas Waddingham being available for selection, perhaps?
Yeah, I think subject to all the clearances that we need to get, he's going to be available at the weekend.